These are your inputs. See the way the arrows are going left to right, not right to left? And these are your outputs. Okay. Every input has a output, and every output seems to have a input. The main thing is every input has to have a output. Domain is your the domain is your x values or your inputs. So what you write down for answer of number 1? Write down all the inputs. So what are they? 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. Range is your set of outputs. So what outputs do I write down? I'll write it in order. So 3, 4, 6, 7, and 9. Any order you want, really. Okay. Now, a couple is an input matched with an output. Do you remember we did coordinate geometry where the x value was 3 and the y value was 2? X value is your input, y value is your output. So you have to write down all the points that you think will happen. So what does everybody think the first point is? 1, 3. Second point? 2, 2, 4. Next one? Anybody? 4, 4, 6. Next one after that? 5, 7. And one after that? 7, 9. 5. What's the rule that gives the outputs? What are we doing to all the inputs to turn them into an output? Anybody have any ideas? Add 2 to the input. That's it, isn't it? That's it. Add 2 to the input. That's how you gotta do. For functions, every input has to have a output. But if I put an output of 12 here, not every output needs to have a input. Is that right? So when you go to this diagram here on question 3, is this a function? Yes or no? Is this one a function? Why is it a function? Why is this a function? Every input has a output. Okay. And I'm also going to make that font a lot smaller. Apart from the one at the start. Okay. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, just going to retire. Everybody happy with that? Okay. Now, what do we think about the next one? Okay, so what do we think about the next one? Is it a function? Why is it not a function? Sorry? What's the reason? Some inputs have more than one. Some inputs have more than one output. That's impossible. Okay? If you think about what we had earlier, remember we had y equals 3x plus 4. Yeah? And remember, if we do an input of 1, what happens if we use an input of 1? What would the answer be? An output of 3 times 1 plus 4? Anybody?
3.
3 plus 4? 7. See the way 1 turns into 7? See the way there's only one answer? The answer is 7. There's not a second answer, so 1 can't turn into any other number if you're using the same function. So you can't have 2 different outputs. Do you get what I'm saying? Even if it's a squared question, if I had y equals x squared plus 3, once again, if I put in the number, any number I want here, so if I do this is the inputs and I say, look, the number 2, what happens to the number 2? 2 squared plus 3, what happens? What's 2 squared plus 3? Really, 2 squared plus 3? 7. 2 turns into 7. Does it turn any? Is there any other answer to that question? No. Every input only has one output. So these things are with B's grand, but A and C are wrong. So that can't be a function. What about the next one? Function or no function? Who thinks it's a function? Hands up. Who thinks it's not a function? Why do you think that? Nine has 2 outputs, yeah. Not a function. Okay. What about the last one? What about part 4? Function or not a function? Oh, what do you think? You think it's not a function? Why? Alright, so this is a function. Outputs don't have to connect to inputs. It's only inputs that have to connect to outputs. It is a function. All inputs have all inputs have an output. Sorry, I went off screen there, but all inputs have outputs. Not and have outputs. So that means it's a function, isn't it? Okay, happy days. Is this a function? Well, if I draw this from earlier, do you remember we were doing these earlier? And I said, what are my inputs, guys? Anybody give me a list of inputs? 1, 2, 3, and the outputs? 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1 turns into that, 2 turns into that, 3 turns into that, 4 turns into that. Is it a function, yes or no? Yes. Why? Every input gets increased by? It doesn't get increased by 1. How does 1 turn into 4? How does 2 turn into 5? They all share the same rule, don't they? Every input gets increased by 3. This means the function did the same thing to every input. Now, I want you to have a look at 5. And using that logic, I want you to tell me why it's not an output. So why it's not a function. Oh, and the other reason was every input has an output as well. Okay. So what do we think here? There's a major problem with this one. Has anybody spotted the major problem? Okay, what's the major problem? Yes, sir? One input has 2. Not possible, not a function. Input 2 has 2 outputs. Okay. It's the same as last time. The domain is the inputs and the range is the... Now I'm going to change the range. I'm going to change it to used outputs. What do I mean by the used outputs? The outputs that are actually used are the 3, the 4, the 5, and the 8. They're the ones that link back to a input. And the codomain is all available outputs. Do you know what I mean by that? 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, all of them. So what would be the domain, guys? Part 1 domain. 1, 3, 5. Range for part 2. 3, 4, 5, and A. And then the codomain is all available outputs. So what are all the available outputs? 3, 4, 5, 6, and A. Okay, I want you to answer part B on your domain, please. Minus 2, 2, 3, and 7. Okay. Range 6 and 9. Codomain minus 4, 2, 6, minus 3, 4, and 9. All good. I'll do question 10. I didn't do 6, did I? No. Okay, here we go. A function is given by the following. Fx equals 4x take away 5. What they do then is they tell me what one of the they tell me the inputs, and I'm going to find the outputs. So what are the inputs, guys? Minus 2, 0, 2, and 4. And the deal is I multiply the input by 4, don't I? And then whatever answer it is, I take away 5. What's 4 times minus 2? 4 times minus 2. So I think we're all agreed that it's going to be like it's going to be minus 8, 0, 8, and 16. Does everybody see what I did to all of these? I multiplied all of them by 4. Why did I multiply all of them by 4? It says 4x, 4 times your input. What do I do after I multiply it by 4? I take away 5 from everything. And what are my answers? Minus 13. Next one. Minus 5. Next one. 3. Next one after that. 11. Now, it's asked me for the range. So what do you want me to tell it about the range, guys? What do we think we want from the range? Anybody tell me? So what is the range? Range is the outputs that we used. What outputs did we use? Minus 5, 3, and 11. Write everything as couples. How do I do that? Anybody know? Minus 2, minus 13. Next one? Yeah, next one. Next one. 4 and 11.